So Jesus was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white man, um, because the guy that painted the popular picture of him was from Norway. Um, but we have icons from, first 1,000 years, the first 500 years, stretching from India to Ireland, Russia to Ethiopia, and he looks the same. He looks like a Palestinian guy with long brown hair and a brown beard and dark brown eyes. He does not look Germanic or Anglo-Saxon, nor is he Bantu, West African, black African. So when people say Jesus is black, well, then I'm sorry. Then you're calling me black. Then you're calling the Irish side of my family too, but also not just the fact that I'm half Irish, but all the Latino side of my family. I guess they're all black too as well. Um, are people from India black? Are people from China black? No, Palestinians are not black West Africans. Um, not even Ethiopians are black West Africans. They're Axumites. They're Cushites. They're a different people group from what the black American came from, right? Just like in Europe, there's different races. This is why I infuriate the shit out of me about the alt right and the white race. Well, right, white race. You have the Latins, you have the Celts, you have the Nordic, you have Slavs, which are not considered whites weren't considered whites by anybody until after World War II. You had the Celtic people, who are almost gone, just basically Southern Ireland and parts of Wales. You have the Greeks. You have the Basques. Do they count? Because they were in Europe before any of the other Aryans arrived. And that's about it. But that's not one cohesive race. That's a bunch of different people, and a lot of them came out of Asia. Slavs, Germanic people did. Certainly the Tatar, the Hun, and the Magyar came out of the Asian steppe. The Turkic people came, which are considered a Germanic people. I mean, the Germans, the Mongolians, the Tartars, and the Turkic people are all related. They basically came from the same area, and they rushed into Europe. Europe had Celts, Latins, and Greeks, and that was it. And we got a bunch of mishmash of people coming in. So the white race, well, yeah. Unfortunately for a lot of these neo-Nazis out there, they have names like Kowalski, which that didn't fly with Hitler. Hitler attacked the Slavs. And remember, the Ku Klux Klan cared more about being anti-Catholic than they were white supremacists, because there were 5 presidents of Mexico that were members of the KKK. The most famous one being Calles in the 1920s. Benito Juarez was a member of the KKK, at least an honorary one, and he accepted the honorary title of Grand Wizard with great honor. And the Klan wasn't always anti-communist. They were particularly anti-Catholic, secondarily anti-Jew, and tertiary anti-black. The black was a thing that they would have around. They were kind of wanting to have slavery come back around again. They were waiting till they could enslave them again. But it was mostly anti-Catholic. And of course anti-Italian, because they were a European people who were darker than the Mexicans that they were used to, who were heavily Catholic. This is a slap in the face. Not to mention that these people who looked more Mexican than they did Anglo-Saxon created the Roman Empire. And when the Anglo-Saxons were living in mud huts and eating dog in Denmark, these olive-skinned Latins from the Mediterranean had one of the greatest civilizations the world had ever seen. And it was the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Nordic people that destroyed the shit out of it and caused the Dark Ages. The Visigoths, the Vandals, the Lombards, and then even when Europe was trying to rebuild itself, you had the Vikings. The blonde-haired, blue-eyed people that screwed it up for the Celts and the Latins and the Greeks. And even the Slavs. So, white power. You know, I just made a video about La Raza, how that's just stupid as all get out. But, yeah, World War II got vicious because, okay, wait, who is white? And then you have Jewish people calling themselves white. I never thought Jewish people counted as white. It's not a racist thing. That's just Jews don't count as white, right? I mean, because of World War II, they don't get counted as white. But I see on applications, when I fill out an application, if you do this in the United States, because I'm currently living in the United States right now, it says white non-Hispanic. And then it has a brackets, and it says European, North African, Middle Eastern. I can't click that, right? Even though I have Arab and Celtic blood, I am a Hispanic or a Latino white. So, if people say, well, they don't mean it like that. Well, then how the fuck do they mean it? They should either have it clear, or they shouldn't have these stupid, I mean, whoever designed race, and I used to blame it on ever since Christopher Columbus. No, it's from the 80s and early 90s. The stupidity is only about 20 years old, and it is ludicrous. If you have one drop of black blood in you, then you're black. That was a demand from black groups, which means I can claim to be black American. How stupid is that? There was a Egyptian family, and they honestly, because they were new immigrants here, filled out a scholarship. It was for African Americans, and now let's get this straight. Black Americans have never been to Africa. Most of them. Most of their ancestors have been here longer than the Irish or the Mexican or the Scottish or some of the English, or you name it. They're some of the first people that got brought over here. You know, from Jamestown, there were black West African slaves. So they started this hype because Mariah Carey. How the fuck is Mariah Carey black? She's one of the whitest ladies I've ever seen. Right? But yeah. So it's a lot simpler down where I'm from. But yeah, this whole race shit in the United States, or white guilt. Go to Uruguay or Argentina or southern Brazil and spout out about white guilt. Have some American spout out about white guilt or feminism. Get slapped the shit out. Because South Americans know how to have sex. Women know how to be women. Men know how to be men. It's the women, the Latin women of South America know how to be women in the sexy, good, motherly way, and the men know how to be tough and manly. And They respect their traditions. Why can't the people in the United States, why can't the white Anglo-Saxon up here uh, uh, do the same thing? But then I see assholes like this Jorge Ramos fucker picking on these Germanic Anglos and shit. It's like, let them have their own fucking culture, for fuck's sake. That's why they're going all crazy and they're all lesbians with their hair dyed pink and they're guilty of being white. They're crying because they're white. But fuck you. I mean, if anybody says that to an Argentine, anybody from Argentina, right? Especially the Pampas, um, the best answer you'd get is, get the fuck out of here. The most likely answer you'd get would be either an open or closed hand right to the face. They don't take that shit. We don't take that shit. That's why I like it down there.